What is going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here with Dilly Vanilli. We are here for our NFL Week 6 preview, picks, and predictions. We are going to break down every single game in the Week 6 NFL slate for this weekend and the primetime action. And week number 6 features a lot of games that we feel like personally, even before we even pick the games, are going to be very difficult. I looked at this slate. I put in the Twitter chat, man, this is a hard week. There are a lot of teams that I feel like are around the same level or are going through the same part of their season right now where they're rather a team that's a mediocre team facing off another mediocre team. It's a really good team versus a really good team. It's a bad team versus a bad team. So it's going to be a very difficult week just because of the matchups I feel are so even, but that could also provide for not only some exciting NFL action, but also a week where we can determine, okay, this team might be a little bit better than this team, and that team might be a little bit worse than that team as we continue to build through the NFL season, getting closer to determining who the pretenders and contenders are in this league. Dilly Vanilli, let the people know how we're doing in picks this year. We all know you're in dead last, but how are the rest of us doing?
Hey, first of all, I'm on last by one game, so it's not like I'm the end of the world.
Dead last.
Okay. Kevel has been bringing his game this year. I don't know what it is. From last to first, like it's nothing. He went 10-5, went 11-4 if he didn't switch his Bills-Titans pick at the last second. But he went 10-5. The rest of us went 9-6 last week. So right now in first place by a good, decent margin at 47, 29-2. AC and Mitch are still tied somehow at 43, 33-2, and I'm last by one game against 42. So
I think the issue is, Dilly, that I pick my games and then AC watches our stream, picks the exact same games as me, and then we end up having the same record. Is that not a true statement?
Well, last week he more agreed with me, actually. So it was kind of like a mix. Like he had 3 games that you guys differed in, he got right, but 3 games you picked and he got right. So it kind of just mixed together somehow. I don't know. It's very strange.
I don't know. I think somebody's stealing my notes. And this week, I actually am more suffice on my notes. I actually have notes for this episode of Picks. Usually, I just go off the top of the noggin, the top of the old brain here. But today, because I've had the reading week from school, I've been able to corral my thoughts into one document on my computer. And I've actually been able to watch a few games that I wanted to watch. I just finished up the Raiders-Chargers game, which was an interesting one. And I think it just adds a little bit of flavor to our picks this week. So tune in. Make sure you guys are sticking around for the live picks. If you guys aren't live, make sure you're leaving your comments. What do you think this week? Who are you picking? If you are live, do the very same. Let us know who you're picking. We always like to hear from you guys. If you have any NFL-related questions, fantasy, whatever it may be, leave it in the live chat. We'll get to it after about every 4 games or so. We'll peek in the chat. We'll read the best comments and then get back to you. So let's start off with Thursday Night Football. The New York Giants are going to host the Philadelphia Eagles in a NFC East showdown, Dilly Vanilli. It's an NFC East showdown. Last season, a part of my notes here, Eli Manning versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Can you guess how many combined yards he had last year against the Philadelphia Eagles?
That's tough. That first game, I remember because it was the Jake Elliott kick. He went pretty decent on that. I think let's go for a 400. Let's go 400 total yards.
400 total yards in both games?
In both games.
He had 800 total yards in both games.
Woo! Man, I should have gone for a double. Damn, that's a lot.
Double what Dilly Vanilli said. 800. The first game, 366 yards. The second game, 434 yards against the Philadelphia Eagles. 3 touchdowns in both games. Now, the problem with this, Dilly, is the Giants lost both of those games.
I was just thinking that.
They lost 27-24 and they lost 34-29. Now, considering the Eagles were a lot better than they are now, and considering that the Giants were a lot worse than they are now, even though they're not good right now, it's a very interesting Thursday night football game because you would say that both of these teams are desperate, right, Dylan?
Yes.
Yeah, both of these teams are desperate. I think we've both seen some pretty bad football from both of these teams. And I think it comes down to who do I like? For me, coming into this game, coming into this week, I was probably going to pick against both of these teams. I said last week I'm never going to pick the Giants again. And I keep picking the Eagles, and they keep disappointing me. So now they play each other, and I'm stuck in this scenario where I don't know who to pick because both of these teams I don't want to pick. So can I just say I don't want to pick either of these teams and just move on? Or do I have to actually pick somebody?
That's not how picks work. That's not, no.
Okay.
Season 3.
Well, a couple more details on the game to get to my pick. Jay Ajayi is out for the year.
Yep.
Okay. So Wendell Smallwood, Corey Clement are going to have to carry the load. And Jay Ajayi did not look like himself last week. Obviously was injured somewhat in that game. The Eagles' horrible cornerback play scares me in this game because they're going to have to cover Odell Beckham. Yeah. And if they continue to send those blitzes like they do, you're going to give up a big play. But the Eagles have won 7 of the last 8 games against the Giants. And to me, that's a big determining factor. I know it's Thursday night football on the road, tough to do, but I think I just trust the Eagles a little bit, tiny bit more to play as a desperate football team to win this game because their schedule gets extremely difficult after this game. They play the Panthers, they play the Jaguars, so they need to win this game. That's why I'm going to pick the Eagles.
All right, fair enough. Eagles, Giants matchups, they're always very intriguing. They've had some pretty crazy games over the years. Last year's game where Jake Elliott had to kick the 61-yard field goal to win it. The Deshaun Jackson return punt after 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, that was not too far long ago. So there's always drama in these games. But here's something the Giants accomplished, Mitch, that they haven't accomplished in over 2 years. Last week, they scored 30 points for the first time since week 17 of 2015. And again, in both efforts, they lost because of pretty interesting circumstances. The last time they won and put 30 points on the board was week 9 of 2015. Last week was because of a crazy 63-yard field goal that we watched on the live stream. That was freaking ridiculous. This time around, I'm very concerned about both teams going forward. I have not said very many good things about the Giants and what they have accomplished, although I do love what Odell and Saquon are trying to put up here. And the Eagles' defense really does scare me. And then going on further a couple of weeks down the line, I'm not going to be favoring them very many times. And as a Cowboys fan, I'm going to be cheering for the Giants in this scenario. However, I will be picking the Eagles because I think they've got a little bit more going on. They understand the situation involved. I think the Giants are kind of a lost cause, even in this pretty shitty division. The Eagles have to understand that if they don't win this game and go 2-4, and you got to
Dylan froze.
Jaguars. Am I still good? Okay, now.
Maybe leave and come back. You're fine now, but just you were lagging a little bit at the start, so just leave and come back. But your pick is who?
Eagles.
Okay, so we're both picking the Eagles. Dilly Vanilli. The crazy thing is the Giants have lost 2 games in the span of 2 years where the other team kicked a 60-plus yard field goal. That's pretty insane. One of those was against the Eagles. I don't expect that to be the result this year, but I think it all comes down to, for us, the Eagles, I think, and people are saying this in the chat, the Eagles, if they lose, they might be done. So that is the issue with this, and I think that's the biggest reason why we're picking the Eagles here. Continuing on, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons. Whew. Jameis Winston, first game back, and this is another tough one, Dilly Vanilli, because both of these teams have horrible defenses. Horrendous defenses. The Bucs gave up 6 touchdowns to Mitch Trubisky in the best game of his career and really couldn't cover anybody. The Falcons can't cover any team. It doesn't matter who you put out there. It could be the 2017 Cleveland Browns. The way I determine this is the Falcons play a lot better at home. For whatever reason, Matt Ryan and the offense can't get their offense going as well when they are on the road. We saw it against the Eagles. We saw it against the Steelers. Their offense just sputters. And if their offense sputters, and I believe whatever offense sputters first in this game will lose. If the Falcons offense can continue to go in the dome like they have been this season, then they'll win this game in a shootout like 38-31, something like that. I think Jameis coming back in his first game is actually going to look pretty good because it's hard not to against this defense. And also my other determining factor for this game is that the Falcons corners are a bit better than the Bucs. So that being said, I'm going to go with the Falcons in a shootout, like I said, like 38-31, 38-34. I think this will be a really exciting game under the radar this week.
You know, you talked about how the Giants and Eagles are 2 teams you can't trust. Well, these are 2 teams I can't trust this week.
Frozen again.
Look, why do I keep lagging? It's annoying.
I don't know. It's annoying me.
Freaking stupid. And I'm going to continue, even though I already left the chat ones. Falcons, Bucs, I can't trust either of these teams. No Fitzpatrick. Now we're going to see Jameis Winston. I think he'll do good against, like you said, a very bad secondary kind of thing. You know, a lot of injuries have plagued this defense. And nobody probably expected the Falcons to go 1-4 here to start, even with the amount of points that they were putting up on the board. Not last week in particular, but throughout the first 4 weeks. I'm going to go with the Falcons. I think just based on the fact that they're at home, and I can trust them a little bit more. I think Julio, he still hasn't had a touchdown. I think he'll get his first one this week, and maybe look for Calvin Ridley again to go off. I think that's the biggest factor. Both defenses are pretty bad. This might be the highest scoring game this week. So I'm going to go with the Falcons over the Bucs.
As Predator says, we cannot trust the Eagles, the Giants, the Bucs, or the Falcons. But the biggest thing we cannot trust is Dilly's internet tonight. That's the biggest thing we can't trust. So stay tuned, guys. You never know what's going to happen.
Your stream. It's your stream. You're sending me these bad connections.
Yeah, okay. Whatever you say. Blame it on the Canadian, I see. All right. Next game. Another Sunday one. Another game.
Another Sunday one.
Another game between 2 teams that I don't know how to explain it. Can I just say the names and then you guys will understand? The Browns and the Chargers, okay? Yeah. How do we pick a game between the Browns and the Chargers? The NFL is literally making this impossible for us to pick on a weekly basis. Like, how do you pick the Chargers and the Browns? The Browns just had a miraculous, was it 12-9?
12-9.
12-9 overtime victory against the Baltimore Ravens. The Chargers looked really impressive against the Raiders last week. Mm-hmm. Now, my notes for this game.
Notes.
Both teams coming off impressive wins. Even though the Browns only won by 3, it was still impressive to beat a Ravens team who was looking very good to that point in overtime. The Chargers have only lost 2 games. And can you guess the teams that they've lost to so far?
The Chargers have only lost 2 games. They lost to the Chiefs, and they lost to – who was that other one?
The Rams.
The Rams. Okay, so
they're
pretty good
3-2. And they've lost to the 2 best teams in the NFL. So how do you determine how good the Chargers are right now? That's the question. Very difficult. And the Chargers are a team we really liked before the season. That's a fact. The Browns' interior offensive line, from what I've seen, they've been really impressive. They were really good against the Ravens. And I think if they win this game, they're going to have to control the Chargers up front and run the ball effectively. I did like what I saw from watching the film against the Raiders from the Chargers. Just Their defense was more aggressive. It was just looked faster, swarming. It looked like they were playing with more confidence, which we didn't really see in the first few weeks. So if their defense can play better, then they're definitely going to be going in the right direction, because we know their offense can play. Melvin Gordon, top 3 running back to me right now. He's playing very, very well. Touchdown machine, fantasy machine. Baker Mayfield, you got to be impressed with what he's done with the Browns, even with the stats haven't been, overly fantastic, but he is bringing a winning culture to the team. On defense, Denzel Ward is continuing to shine for them, making plays. I think, though, this game comes down to which offense can make a couple more plays, and I just trust the Chargers a little bit more in terms of their dynamic offense with Phillip Rivers to make a couple more plays. And because of what their defense looked like last week, even though it's on the road, I'm going to go with the Chargers, and that's why I'm going to take them in this game.
This is a difficult one, like you bring up, but you talked about how the Chargers' 2 losses were against the Rams and the Chiefs. Their 3 wins.
Dilly froze again.
Oh, my. I'm getting sick and tired of this damn internet. The 3 losses that they have, the 3 wins they have are against the Bills, the 49ers, and the Raiders. They're not – their records haven't been shown to be the best in the game. Like, the Raiders are, 1-4? 49ers are 1-4. Bills are 1-4. So what are we looking at from these wins here? That's the big question for me. The Browns – they have all 5 possible outcomes in the first 5 weeks of their games. They had a regulation loss, a regulation win, a tie, a regulation overtime win, an overtime win, and overtime loss. That's insane. I'm going to go bold. I'm going to go Browns. I feel like this is one of those very weird games.
And this is why you're in last. You wonder why you're in last.
Hey, I got to go bold this week, okay? First of all, the Bills beat the Titans last week. We all picked the Titans. I got to go a little bit different on these. I can't just be the similar guy, I got to go different.
Okay,
by the way,
I respect it. It's not like the Browns are bad. The Browns are going to be a team that I feel like give a game to everybody. I'm just not sure if they have what it takes to beat the Chargers.
Overrated Chargers.
Get it in there. I haven't done that in a couple weeks.
And by the way, I picked the Vikings and you all picked the Eagles, so I just want to point that out. There's a reason I'm still in it.
I was going to switch my pick, but
you didn't do it. Didn't pull the trigger. So I'm going Browns. I just this is going to be an interesting one. If the Chargers win, I'm not going to be surprised, but I think the defense is going to step up for the Browns. They did step up and clog the Ravens up pretty well, so that's a key factor in it. They're playing at home. That could be something of note. And I think Baker, like you said, not the greatest stats, but he has been leading this team to something, a little bit exciting going forward. So I'm going to go with the Browns. I'm going to change it up a little bit on that.
Bro, do you want a more unpredictable game than the Chargers and the Browns?
How is that even possible?
There's a game on this slate called the Colts versus the Jets.
Oh God. That's pretty unpredictable.
So we have the 1-4 Colts versus the 2-3 New York Jets. The Jets, both of their victories are blowouts. They won first week, blowout. Last week, blowout. In between, they look like crap. So how do you determine how good the Jets are? And then you have the Colts, who are banged up, like insanely banged up. Last week, I don't even think they had enough players to dress in an NFL game. It was bad. They had Andrew Luck playing linebacker out there, I think. I'm not sure. Maybe. But this week, the Jets, of course, last week they exploded. Robbie Anderson was actually discovered. They figured out that this guy named Robbie Anderson, it was on their team, and they could throw him the ball down the field. And that was my biggest complaint. Dylan, you know this about Sam Darnold the first couple weeks, was they weren't throwing the ball down the field, and I felt that was a lot to do with Sam Darnold because, that's not really his strength, but I just felt like he wasn't really letting it go. Isaiah Crowell had over 200 yards. I think it was a franchise record for the Jets last week, so he was amazing. Will that carry over this week? It's really tough to say. The Colts always stick in the game. They're never a team that's really blown out. Even in a game last week where they thoroughly got dominated, they were still somewhat in the game because of some dumb plays by the Patriots and because of Andrew Luck. And you can say officially Andrew Luck is back. He's playing on the money. Doesn't matter who his players around him are. And I could see why people will pick the Colts. But I like the way that as a team, the Jets are playing. And I don't like the Colts injury report. Hooker, Hunt, Hilton, Geathers, Ebron, Doyle, like all these guys are hurt.
Oh my God. Jesus.
All these guys are injured, bro. I don't know if some of them will play. Like, I'm not sure if Ebron will like tough it out and play. I'm not sure. Hilton's already out. I'm not sure if Hunt will be out. Like, all of these players are like their best players. Yeah. Like, besides Luck and Jabal Sheard, like these are their best players on their entire team, and they're injured. So that's a tough one. So that's why I'm going to go with the Jets. I just think they will be able to move the ball against a mediocre to bad defense. And I'm not really too concerned about Andrew Luck taking over this game because I don't think the Jets defense is all that bad. So I'm going to go with the Jets to win against a banged up Colts team. If this was a little bit like in terms of the injury report, like if TY were playing, if I knew that Hooker was playing in this stuff, I might go with the Colts, but I just can't. I'm going to go with the Jets.
This is tough. This is one of those, I don't trust the Jets. Colts look good, but they're hurt. Or like, you know, I should say Andrew Luck's looking good, but everybody else is hurt. I'm going to go Colts. The injury report does look a little disgusting. It's a little bit hard to watch, but Andrew Luck gives them a little bit of momentum, and I might change this pick, but I have not been sold on the Jets. I know they looked good last week. Isaiah Crowell was a fucking beast. They discovered Robbie Anderson for some reason, like 5 weeks too late, but appreciate that. But the thing is, I think the Colts are going to be led by Andrew Luck. He's going to sling the ball a lot. I think that's his number one goal is to sling that ball, get it out to everybody. Chester Rogers is a big target this week. A bunch of other guys. I think Gary Ebron is going to be safe for the game, but and he was a huge fantasy getter this week in tight end position, or for week 5, I should say. So I'm going to go with the Colts. Don't feel confident in it, but I'm just going to try something different. Let's go Colts.
It's tough. Usually my old game plan was when the two teams aren't very good, I go with the home team, and I think that justifies my pick. So both these teams aren't very good, but we'll see what happens. So let's go to the chat. We're 4 games in. Next game will be Seahawks and Raiders, but we'll figure out the chat first.
That one's a little bit tough. All right, Training Solution says he's got 43 dubs on the year for picks, which is tied with you guys. Azid says, is it just me, or does it feel like the Chargers never get a national televised game? It's kind of funny because they don't.
Only like a couple a year.
Yeah, they get like maybe 2, which is weird this year because he thought all the hype would come in. They would get some games. Robot Guy says that the Eagles let me down again. I'm not picking them anymore. So same with you with the Giants pick there. Rick says the Eagles are going to win, unfortunately. Dirk Kant's going with the Giants. Deshaun's got the Eagles 24-14. Let's see, 23-20 Eagles. Training Solution says won't be surprised with any result. If the Eagles lose, are they done? Says Robot Guy.
I would say yes. I know that a lot of people are saying, oh, the division sucks and blah, 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 blah. Bro, they play some tough teams still.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say. Like, in response to that, they play some tough teams still. If they can't beat the Giants, what makes me believe they could beat the Panthers, Jaguars, Saints, and all the other teams they play the rest of the season? I don't know.
Rams. They got to play Rams too.
Rams.
That's tough.
They play 4 of the best teams in the league. Still.
That's a toughie. That's a tough.
Man, the NFC East is ass. I'm just gonna say that.
Bro, it is ass. It's fucking garbage. You know, the best team right now just lost by 24 in Monday Night Football. That's how fucking bad this division is. Your Kant says Giants should have won their last game. Gano is a beast. Gano is a fucking monster. Must win for Philly, says Deshaun. Let's see here. Malik says Giants, I feel, are more hungry to win this game. They are fighting to be a contender.
The thing that scares me also about the Giants is the way that they played last week after the interview with Odell. I felt like maybe that sort of ignited the team a little bit. I'm not sure. I don't know. I feel like Odell sort of not necessarily calling out Eli, but in a way also calling out Eli.
Oh,
Like, I feel like it might have helped the team in a way, because sometimes when you just throw your problems out there on the table, it can rather go one way or the other, and usually it does go in a positive fashion. So maybe the Giants are a little bit more ignited right now, and especially playing at home. So, and the way they've played against the Eagles, you never know. But it's just hard to count out the Super Bowl champions just so far this season against a team that's only won one game. I mean,
and look, there looks to be problems. Sterling Shepard was throwing a fit on the sideline Sunday. Pat Shurmur called out Odell for his comments. I don't know. I'm not liking what they're throwing out there right now.
I also forgot a point about the Jets and Colts game, just to throw this out there. But I feel like if the Jets can run the ball early, they're going to win this game. And if they can't, they're going to lose. Just simple as that. Like, every week that they've won, they've been able to run the ball. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, Crow had 2 big games in those wins. Rick says Winston is going to have 3 turnovers and the Falcons will win 38-20. Dirk Kant says Falcons win 27-13. Turtle says 30-24 for the Falcons. Somebody asked if we're doing Chiefs Patriots live stream, and the answer is no.
We'll do a recap.
We will do a recap for that game.
It would be a pretty banger live stream, but no, probably not.
Deshaun says 17-10 in the Brownies direction. A lot of people are picking the Chargers though in that game. 24-20, 24-20, stuff like that. Dirk says Rivers is going to make a couple more plays than Bakesman.
I just want to throw this out there. Rivers is still elite.
Oh yeah, for sure. Ultra is in the chat. He's picking the Jaguars to win their game 23-14. That's a little bit farther ahead. And one last question for this part. Do you think the coach of the year, or who do you think the coach of the year is so far?
I'll say Matt Nagy.
I actually agree with that sentiment. That's a 3-1, so much worse last year. Yeah, I'd agree with that. All right, back to
I don't think I'm missing anybody.
Not that I can think of.
Maybe Sean McVay or Andy Reid.
But they already won it. Just give it to the new guys.
I'm just putting that out there. Okay. Next game, we have the Seahawks. Oakland Raiders. The Raiders.
Well, it's not at Oakland. It's not really at Oakland. It's in London.
Okay, well, they're the home team. Sorry. It's in London. Okay, and let's simplify it by saying this. John Gruden has not been great this year.
No.
Pete Carroll, in my opinion, has been great this year. The game's in London. Russell Wilson, I feel like, is a great leader. And I like the way that the Seahawks have played some football so far this year. They're not the most talented team, but they're coached up well. They play with passion and heart, and they're in a lot of games. And I don't see that with the Raiders. The Raiders are a little bit undisciplined. I don't think their defensive line is a unit that can dominate this offensive line for the Seahawks. So I'm going to take Russell Wilson and the Seahawks in this game. It should be relatively entertaining. But the Raiders, they just can't put it all together right now, and their defense lacks significant talent. So I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I'll say it's like 27-20 Seahawks.
I'd like to go for the upset again, and especially considering this is in London. A lot of different things can happen, but I'm not confident in Oakland to get it done here. So I'm going to go with the Sea Chickens. Russell Wilson, he's going to lead that team to try to get some success because they've got a little bit of momentum right now. And they're not too far out. Obviously, they're not going to win their division, but I think right now they're trying to fight for a wild card, really try to push themselves in. And if they go 2-4, that's not really going to put them on a good position or on track to do so. So I think they're really trying to fight for this one. And the Raiders, I don't have the confidence in them right now. And a lot of things need to be fixed in order for them to be looked at as like, this is a team to look forward to going into next season, something like that. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I think 7 points is a good score. I'll say it's 23-16. That'll be my score.
Okay. Next matchup, I think this is one of the underrated matchups of the week. It's the Panthers at the Redskins. The Panthers last week kind of escaped with a victory against the Giants and almost effed it up because that play before the field goal, they ran the ball for some reason. No idea why, but they did. And then Graham Gano had to come in and save it, and he did. And that kick, man, I've never seen a 60-plus yard field goal where the kick looked like it was never going to miss at one point.
Yeah. It was good from 4 or 5 more yards. It was great.
It was phenomenal. It could have been good from arguably 70 yards. That's how good of a kick that was. Yeah. So that was one of the best kicks I've ever seen in my life, just to be honest. The Redskins, I just think they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. They were facing the New Orleans Saints on Monday Night Football at home in the night where Drew Brees was going to break the record. It was just a sort of wrong place, wrong time. I don't think they're as bad as they showed, but I don't know if they're as good as people were saying before the game. So I think they're somewhere in the middle. I think they still could be the best team in their division. That's how bad the division is. It's just interesting. I don't know. I think this is strength versus strength. The Redskins, even against the Saints, had a pretty good, strong run defense. It's been very solid this year. They're in the top 5 in that category, while the Panthers are first in rushing in the NFL. The Panthers, they have concerns in the secondary, though. Against the Giants, they were not good. They let up some big plays, even against Eli, of all quarterbacks. And they didn't really get a ton of pressure, and Eli seemed comfortable. So that's not a good sign. They're 26th versus the pass this year. Positively for the Panthers, I think their offense, it has as many playmakers as it's had since Cam Newton's been quarterback. And Greg Olsen isn't even playing right now. Just like guys like even like Curtis Samuel, DJ Moore, they're starting to come on a little bit more every week. So that's good. And also Thomas Davis is back in this game. So those are the main storylines for me. Overall, this is an extremely tough game to pick. I think the Redskins right now are -1 point, given that they're at home. So I feel like for Vegas, this is really dictated on who's the home team. I just got to go with the team that I've seen a little bit more consistency from, and that's the Panthers. I want to pick the Redskins for some reason, and maybe I'll switch my pick some point in this week, but I've just seen more consistency with the Panthers. I know what I'm going to get from them a little bit more. I think Thomas Davis will help them a lot. And I think Cam Newton's been playing well. Christian McCaffrey's been playing well. So I can't really go against that. I'm going to go with the Panthers right now.
Gano, the kickball champion, won them the game last week, but they still put up some pretty good numbers, and I'm liking what McCaffrey's been able to do. The offense is getting there. I still don't know if they're going to be a powerhouse in the NFC, but right now they're looking better than I expected them to coming into the season. The Redskins' defense was atrocious against the Saints. I mean, that record-breaking touchdown for Drew Brees, the guy was wide open. And I'm not talking about NFL wide open where you get a couple yards. I mean as open as you could get. The Redskins did not look good. I know they were in a very bad position against one of the best teams in the league, but it really did expose them. And Josh Norman took a fat L on Twitter as a result with his spat from Michael Thomas. That was funny. You don't repeat the same thing twice. You're going to get killed. So that being said, I've seen more out of the Panthers, and I'm more convinced that the Panthers are a good team compared to the Redskins. I like what AP's doing, and I like the run game that they've got. Jordan Reed is hopefully staying healthy, and that's going to help them. But I've seen more things out of them, and I think the biggest thing is how is that Redskins defense going to do against the Panthers and the receivers? I don't know if they're going to get the job done. I think Cam is going to run for some big numbers in this game. So I'm going to take the Panthers.
Yeah, that's a tough one to me because I don't know enough about the Redskins yet.
Yeah, well, they got a bye already, and they played a really bad comeback game, after their bye. So who knows? Who knows?
All right. Arizona Cardinals at the Minnesota Vikings. Mm-hmm. I'm going to keep this one simple. Yes, the Cardinals won last week. Josh Rosen did make some plays. Wasn't great, but made some plays. And the biggest thing with the Cardinals is that you can respect it. I feel like coaching-wise, they've done a good job, even with the rookie head coach, is just like they don't beat themselves in any game. They're just not that talented. Like I feel like they're sort of like hanging around in most games because they don't really turn the ball over in stupid spots or make stupid plays or get a lot of penalties. So they'll be around probably in the first half against the Vikings, but I just don't see it because they're just not as talented as the Vikings. Kirk Cousins is a stud. Adam Thielen needs to be discussed as an elite receiver. He's leading the league in receptions and yards, I believe. And he has the most yards even over Randy Moss in Vikings history over the first few weeks. So that's pretty impressive. The questions I have about the Vikings are, is their defense solved, or was this just a result of the Eagles being bad? Like, I don't know if their defense was really as good as it played against the Eagles, or if they were, if the Eagles' issues were just taking over that game. But it won't really show against the Cardinals because the Cardinals don't have a dominant offense. So in Minnesota, with the way Kirk Cousins is playing, you can't not go with the Vikings. So I'm picking the Vikings.
Yeah, we got to see the Vikings. They looked good. I'm hoping Adam Thielen doesn't go off this week because I play Kev in fantasy and he has Adam Thielen. So please spare me, Adam Thielen. That being said, I think this team is going to do very well against the Cardinals. It won't be very close. Congrats on the Cardinals getting their first win. That's good stuff. Pretty short time. We got everybody to get a first win in the league. So that's good compared to last season where we didn't get to do that. So that being said, I think the Vikings are going to win, and they need to win because there's going to be more tough competition going forward on their schedule. So, Vikings.
Looking at their schedule, I think, we talked about the Chargers schedule, how difficult that was. But when you look at the Viking schedule, they've already played some pretty good teams. Or like before the year, we would have considered their record right now probably to be about accurate because they played a 49ers team that was fully healthy with Jimmy Garoppolo. They won that game. Then they played the Packers, which we thought was going to be a good team, and maybe they still are. We don't know yet. 29-29 tie. Okay, fair enough. They lose to the Bills. If they would have beat the Bills, which was a total crazy game that nobody predicted, they would probably be on pace. But because they lost to the Bills, everybody started to panic. They lose to the Rams, which was sort of predicted, and then they beat the Eagles. So when you're looking at that, the rest of the season, they play the Cardinals, then they play the Jets. They play the Saints, which is a big game. So you look at the rest of their schedule. They play the Saints, Bears, Patriots, Packers again, and Bears again. The rest of the games they should win, but those rest of those big matchups are going to determine whether they make the playoffs or not. But really my point is, before the year, if you would have said, hey, the Vikings, they are 2-2-1, I would have said, that's probably not – I probably would have went like with 3-1. But or 3-1, 4-1 area. But because of the tie and because of the loss of the Bills, it kind of took it back a little bit. But I still don't feel like it's a bad start for the Vikings. So it's just an interesting thing to kind of think about a little bit. Yeah. The next game, the Bills at the Texans. Okay. How do the Bills even win games, bro?
You cut out. What did you say?
How do the Bills even win?
13 points.
The Bills are crap. And somehow they're winning. They've won 2 games. To me, Josh Allen, every time I watch him, he looks a lot like Cam Newton. Every single touchdown run he has is like a Cam Newton run. And he just dives across he beast modes 2 people and then he dives to the end zone. And he'll throw for 90 yards.
He's throwing this garbage.
But they'll win. They'll win.
I don't know, man. We're going to talk about the Titans. Fucking hell.
As for the Texans, who I'm picking in this game, they're at home. They beat the Cowboys in to me, a must-win game on Sunday Night Football, and they got it done. The most encouraging thing for me about the Texans is how Deshaun Watson looked, and he looks like Deshaun Watson. So that's a good thing. He's significantly gotten better every single week. The Texans, negatively, they need to get their run game going one of these weeks. They can't rely on Deshaun Watson in the passing game to get it done every week. They need to get a little bit of a run game going, at least something that will scare the defense somewhat or keep them on their toes. A question for the Bills is, how did the LaShawn McCoy trade rumors impact them as a team? And then also another point on the Texans, Watt and Clowney looked dominant the last couple of weeks, so that's good. If the Texans do win this game, Dilly, it would be a 3-game winning streak, and they would be at 3-3. So that's something to take into account. And they would be right back into the fold for the division because their division has started off slow as well. So the Texans, if they win this game, despite the slow start, they could still be back into playoff position. Who do you think is going to win this game, Dylan?
I've got the Texans. They looked very good against the Cowboys. Like you said, Deshaun Watson was looking very, very good. And if it wasn't for the red zone defense of the Cowboys, they could have even gotten even more touchdowns last week. He was very accurate. He didn't throw a lot to Will Fuller, but he connected with DeAndre Hopkins very nicely last week. I think that will continue once again. Defense is looking unstoppable. J.J. Watt is back in it. Jadeveon Clowney looking
maybe not unstoppable. They did play the Cowboys offense.
Still, they're looking pretty damn good. And fuck you, by the way. J.J. Watt's looking great. Jadeveon Clowney's looking great. This unit as a whole is getting better week by week. And this week against the Bills, I don't see that upset because I know that the Texans could put up more points than the Titans because the Titans have had 2 games of 9 and 12 points. So, that's what it is. I'm going to go with the Texans pretty convincingly.
Okay. How many games has it been? It's been 1, 2, 3. Okay, after this game, which is the Steelers at Bengals.
Ooh,
this is a huge one, Dilly Vanilli. Huge one.
Mm-hmm.
The Bengals, only one loss on the season, which was against the Panthers. Steelers, slow start to the season, but a huge victory last week against the Falcons at home, 41-17.
Yep.
I think that was the score. Steelers have won the last 6 games in a row versus the Bengals. They're like the Bengals kryptonite. They dominate the Bengals, and they lose to the Patriots. That's what we know for the Steelers. Are they back? That's the question. Are they back? To me, this should be a shootout. It's in Cincinnati. This is 2 of the top 5 offenses and points in the league. It's going to be Antonio Brown versus A.J. Green. I think this game will be a lot more fun than the past games between Cincinnati and the Steelers, where it's been a lot more defensive, a lot more aggressive. Occasionally, a guy gets injured. Not occasionally, pretty much every single time. So look out for somebody to get hurt in this game, because it's very, very aggressive, very physical. And it's going to be interesting to see how many penalties are in this game. The Bengals defensive line was a lot better last week in their comeback. It was the reason why they came back and won. Their defensive line was able to get after Tannehill and pretty much dominate the rest of the game. And Andy Dalton's been playing very well. I feel like he's been making a couple more plays this year that he hasn't been making in the past. The offensive line's better. Joe Mixon is back. But I gotta go with the Steelers again. I just have to. I can't believe that the Steelers are going to lose to the Bengals. They just don't lose to the Bengals. Until they lose to the Bengals, I'm not going to pick the Bengals. Yes, the Bengals are 4-1. Yes, they look like the better team so far this year, but the Steelers need this win more than the Bengals. They're more desperate. I feel like the Bengals are maybe feeling it a little bit right now with themselves. So I'm going to go with the Steelers in a shootout, 31-28.
I'm going to go with the Bengals. I did not pick the Steelers last week, and that was a pretty bad decision. So what makes me think this is going to be any different? The Bengals offense, I mean, they're getting it done. I don't understand how they're getting it done, but they're getting it done. The redhead freak himself, my boy Andy Dalton from TCU, not really my boy, but he went to TCU, so we'll just give that up for him. He's been looking pretty good. He's been making the right throws necessary to win these games. Last week, they were down against the Dolphins. You weren't expecting them to be in that situation. Then they came back and they won 27-17 like it was nobody's business. And then you got the great efforts of Tyler Boyd and A.J. Green. You really like that, even though there is no tight end like Tyler Eifert in the game. And Joe Mixon's coming back healthy, and I think that's going to be a big factor. The offense for the Steelers looks great. All the great things you can say about the Steelers has been said and will be said again because of how great their offense is. But I just think that as a complete team, the Bengals are going to get it done. And like I said, I like the Steelers offense, and I love what TJ Watt's doing. He's also in the league at sacks, I believe, with his brothers, so it's pretty cool. But I'm just going to go with the Bengals. It's at home for the Bengals. This is a crucial game. I know you say this is must-win for the Steelers, but I think the Bengals are just really feeling hot right now, and they need to continue this hot streak. So I'm going to pick the Bengals.
I will say, if the Bengals do what Dilly says and prove me wrong, this will provide me with the notion that the Bengals are legit and it's officially time to panic on the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
I think those two things will really come into focus. I feel like if the Bengals beat the Steelers, which they haven't had the capacity to do so for the past few years, then that's going to say to me that this is the best Bengals team we've seen in a couple of years. So that's big. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with the trends, bro. Get to the chat.
Oh, they both won last week. So you never know. You never know. But the trend of the Steelers beating the Bengals, that is a trend that we must not look over. All right, looking over here at the shadow. Durkan says Panthers are going to stop the Redskins on the final drive. So he's got a 31-26 win for the Panthers. I actually like that score quite a bit. Turtle says he feels like the Skins are going to have something. They're going to pull something out of a hat. They get a 27-23 victory. Let's see. A robot guy says, screw the Redskins. They really let me down. The trick won't work again. Funny enough. All right, Mitch. Ultras Power Rankings top 10.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Number 1, Falcons. Not just kidding. Number 1,
Probably.
Rams. he put Falcons, but JK. Number 1, Rams. Number 2, Chiefs. Number 3, Panthers. Number 4.
I feel like that's too high.
I feel like it is too. Number 4, Saints. Number 5, Patriots. Number 6, the Bears. Number 7, Jaguars. Number 8, Vikings. Number 9, Bengals. And number 10, the Chargers. Wait, what do you think about that list?
It's not bad. I just don't like how high the Panthers are. I'm a little bit. For me, based on the performance this year, I would go Chiefs 1, Rams 2, Saints 3, Patriots 4, Bears 5. Who do you have on the list?
There's still Jaguars on the list.
Sure, Jags 6.
There's Vikings. This is
Who
his
was
list.
7? Vikings were 7?
Jaguars were 7th.
Who was 6th?
Bears.
Who was 5th? Oh, I'm missing the Panthers. Put the Panthers ahead of the Jaguars, but under the Bears. And then go. I don't mind the rest of the teams.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you? I just feel like to say why I have the Chiefs over the Rams is just because they've had a harder schedule so far. They've played better teams. That's why I go with the Chiefs.
I agree with that. I would say the Panthers are in the top 10, but in the lower bottom part of the top 10. 8, 9, somewhere around there. A lot of good teams. I mean, it's what it is, and they barely beat the Giants. So, Vikings 31, Cardinals 20. Ultra says, Durkan says, in my opinion, the Bears should be ahead of the Patriots. I mean,
fair enough.
Fair, but he's also a Dolphins fan. I don't know how much that takes into.
He picks against the Patriots every week. I don't know if you've noticed.
But Ultra's reasoning says he thinks the Pats would beat the Bears, but we'll have to see because that's week 7.
That's next week, which might be a stream. Might be a stream.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was aggressive.
Because it's my 2 favorite teams.
Yeah. 2 favorite teams. One's closeted. One's right out there.
One's my favorite team, and one's the team that's not really my favorite, but I cheer for.
So it's your closeted team. That's fine. That's fine. Turtle says the Saints are better than the Panthers. A lot of people are. Kevin Durkan says this too. Saints are not better. Saints are better than Panthers. Do you think?
I think so.
Excuse me. I think they
would be really close. But I think the Saints last year proved that they could beat the Panthers.
Well, think about it. They had one bad game to start off the year, and they still put up 40.
I think the Saints' offense is so dynamic, and they're just starting to get their defense together, which I don't think their defense is ever going to be great. But, I mean, what's the big difference between the Rams and the Saints right now? Honestly.
Not much.
They're pretty even.
Yeah. I mean, you look how dynamic they both are.
Yeah, like their offenses are both fantastic. and their defenses are mediocre at best, I guess.
Yeah.
So
the Rams will get better when they get people healthy, like when Talib comes back and all. But still, yeah, there's not much of a difference, honestly. Let's see. Robot says the Bills, they've had some upsets, but they won't get this victory. Ultra's taking the Steelers 34-29. John says, Mitch, we're both streaming right now. Yes, John over Hot Take Hockey. He's got that stream. Yeah, I know he's been working hard. So
subscribe, guys. Hot Take Hockey.
Hot Take Hockey. What's the Adrian? Is that? I don't know if it's Holmes. Don't like the over in the Bengals game. What's the over?
I gotta look at the point.
Yeah.
It's 53, so I would say yeah.
I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I'd say that. That's gonna be
Actually,
one of the.
No, that's high.
Well, I mean, it depends. The Steelers always
like
put up.
It would be like 30-23, for example.
Yeah.
What did I say the game would be?
I don't remember the score you gave it. I don't think you gave it.
I feel like I gave it like a 31-28, so that would have been over.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, it's probably going over, but.
Yeah, I think so. Ducan says the Saints should have lost to Cleveland, possibly Atlanta. Well, neither of those happened, so Saints still get victories.
Win's a win.
Win is a win. Does not matter if it's lucky or not. I'd rather be lucky than a loser. And again, 3-1? No, 4-1. It's a pretty good record. By the way, they're on a bye this week, so they'll get the rest. And Waterboy is in the chat. What's up, Waterboy?
What's going on, man? Dolphins suck, though.
And that's it for comments.
All right. Let's get to the next game. The Bears and the Dolphins. So right on time. Kevin Durkant's team, Waterboy's team. This game's in Miami. It's going to be a little bit different because the Bears are going to have to travel to probably a warm climate. Not really what they're used to there in Chicago. The Bears, I'll put it like this. The Bears are going to win because the Dolphins are the Dolphins. Can I just say that? Like, the Dolphins were up 17-0 versus the Bengals, and they lost. And the way they lost was because their offense and their quarterback can't be consistent. Like, the Bears' defensive line, I feel, is going to dominate this game against the Dolphins like they have in every other game. Yes, it's not in Chicago. I do think that this game will be close because I don't know if the Bears' offense will be moving the way it did against the Bucs. We'll see. I think this is a good test for the Bears' offense to see if they can consistently move the ball because the Dolphins' defense is pretty good. It's not terrible. So, like, we'll see what they can do. I think we're going to see more Tariq Cohen in this game. I actually think Tariq Cohen is going to start to take a bigger role over even Jordan Howard in this offense. I would not be surprised. I want to see Allen Robinson be more involved. But like I said at the beginning, I just think the Dolphins are the Dolphins. The Bears, the way they're playing, even off of a bye, I think this just gave Matt Nagy a little bit more time to game plan. Saw what the Patriots did to the Dolphins, saw what the Bengals did to the Dolphins. So I think the Bears win. The only concern here is how do the Bears come off of the bye? Are they a little bit rusty like we've seen a couple of teams this year and last year? So the bye isn't always the greatest in modern day football. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going with the Bears.
A couple things. Michael Snacks and Party Parth. Yeah, there you go. They're both on here as well. And Waterboy responded to. He's a Ravens fan, bro. But
he is.
But he's always supported the Dolphins, which is why he's the.
Oh, why do you have a Dan Marino jersey?
He supports the Dolphins. He got a Marino jersey. Marino's one of the goats, bro. I got a Joe Montana jersey.
That's fair enough. I just assumed he was a Dolphins fan because he never told me he was a Ravens fan. So sorry about that. I assumed he was a Dolphins fan.
Here, I got a Joe Montana jersey. You want me to put it in the blank wall?
And if you're bold enough to put a Dolphins jersey out there, I assume you're a Dolphins fan because nobody just randomly puts a Dolphins jersey on their wall. You know what I mean?
At least it's like a Marino jersey, not
true. Marino's great. I'm just saying.
Who's one I would I'm trying to think of somebody. Like, that would just be out random, like a Ricky Williams Miami jersey. Okay,
Yeah.
that would be a little bit bold, even though Ricky is great. Just stay off the damn weed. Anyways, so Dolphins, Bears. Bears are one of the 2 teams left in the NFL that haven't given up more than 24 points in a game this season. Their defense is looking good. Trubisky went off a couple weeks ago and said against the Buccaneers. And I'm liking the chemistry that these guys have had together. Matt Nagy, as you said, could be right now and should be right now the head coach of the year through the first 5 weeks. They've looked impressive. Their whole group as a whole complete team has looked very, very good. And I just can't trust the Dolphins. They start off 3-0, but was that dumb luck? Was that kind of just like they got on a good roll and then they played some teams that are better than they are? Who knows? And they're going to play a really good team that's 3-1 also with a really good defense. So, my opinion, I think the Bears are going to take this one. I'll say the Bears win 28-17. 28-17.
Okay. I just want to say one thing about the Bears defense. I feel like a lot of people hyping them up. They're great. Don't get me wrong. They're arguably the best in the game right now, but they're going to have the true test next week against New England because they've played the first week they played the Packers. They lost the game. Then they played the Seahawks offense. They played the Cardinals offense and they played the Bucks. So I'm not going to say that they're like a dominant unit quite yet. Like they're great, but like, let's see them play a little bit better competition.
You talked about how all the defenses are shit this year, and then now you're going to give one of the 2 good defenses.
Bro, there's only like 0 good defenses in the NFL. So like when the Bears are like a good defense because nobody's defense is good.
You have to give somebody a good defense, for God's sakes.
Bro, change my mind. Actually, there's one team that you won't I think has a good defense. There's a couple more teams. I think the Bears have a good defense. I think the Ravens have a good defense. And I think that the Jags still have a good defense. Those are the teams I think have good defenses.
Okay.
The rest are average or shit.
I think you're excluding one, but we'll get to that later.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. My point was I want to see the Bears play a better offense before we crown them as the greatest thing since the 85 Bears. That's all I wanted to say. Well,
no, I wouldn't. Who's crowning them as 85 Bears? Who in their right mind is crowning them 85 Bears? That's a little whack. There's like 8 Hall of Famers on that defense.
And I've been the biggest supporter of the Bears the last 2 seasons.
Of this,
have I not?
Of this channel, yes.
Okay. Next game, Rams against a formerly good defense, the Broncos. My biggest question is, what is the Broncos' identity right now? I don't know what they do on offense. I don't know what they do on defense. To me, they're just the team that has Von Miller.
Yeah. Well, first of all, they started off 2-0, and now they're 0-3 in the last 3 games.
That sounds like the Broncos. It seems like they start the last 2 years they've started well, and then they screw it up. I think it's time to say, yes, I was positive on when they were 2-0 with Case Keenum, but over these past 3 games, man, he has not performed well, and he looks like a backup quarterback.
Somebody finally, we know you got it now.
Well, I mean, when he was 2-0, he was playing well, but after the last 3 games, I don't know. He just looked, and he was amazing last year.
Yeah,
it's a new year,
new season. What have you done for me lately?
Exactly. My other point is, like I said earlier, the Rams defense needs some fixing, man. They showed a lot of vulnerability against Seattle's offense. They gave up a lot of big plays. Tyler Lockett was chewing up yards. Russell Wilson was hitting bombs. So the Rams need to fix that. Luckily for them, they are playing Case Keenum and the Broncos. It's going to be interesting because I feel like the Broncos will come into this one in Mile High. Always tough with, a game plan to probably keep the Rams offense off the field and run the football. We'll see if that works. Broncos run game isn't bad. Pretty good, actually. So we'll see what happens. The Broncos could make this entertaining, but I just think the Rams have been too good. Their offense is too hard to stop, and the Broncos defense, I think, is arguably the most overrated in the NFL. So I'm going to go with the Rams.
Todd Gurley had 3 touchdowns last week. He might get 8. No, I'm just kidding. I think this team is still very good, even with Brandon Cooks and Cooper Kupp having concussions and maybe one of them not playing. The Broncos just are a very weird team. I don't understand it. First of all, we had this argument with Cortland Sutton and Demarius Thomas, and that's like the most thrilling thing we can talk about with this team. Like, honestly, can we talk about anything else? Von Miller? You know, who else is going to be?
They have the most boring head coach in the NFL.
Oh, God. Vance Joseph. I mean, this guy just sits around and calls one trick play a game, and then it's just all just whatever. It is what it is. But the
He's
Rams
having the time of his life, Dylan.
Because he's a head coach. he gets to fuck around and just pick a play and then woo, but they're not gonna win. I'm sorry, it would take not a miracle, but it would take some really, really bold plays to beat the Rams here. Rams are gonna win. And in case Keenum would have to play out of his mind because he hasn't.
I feel like the Broncos are gonna have to run for 200 to win this game.
Yeah, I'd agree. I know that the Rams.
This is gonna have to be the Phillip Lindsay like breakout game.
Like a monster game. Him and Royce Freeman are gonna have to go off.
Mm-hmm.
Rams.
The next game, the two teams that are arguably the most similar in the entire NFL play each other. The Baltimore Ravens at the Tennessee Titans.
I don't understand this game.
Are there two teams that are more similar than these two teams?
No. It's a very weird game to look at, honestly.
It's Dean Pease's team versus old team, defensive coordinator, formerly the Ravens, now the Titans. Both defenses, very good. I said the Ravens defense is good. Man, they were really good last week.
Yep.
I just think like Baker Mayfield outplayed Joe Flacco. That's an issue. Okay? That's an issue. I literally have in my notes in capital letters, how do you predict the Titans? They play the Chargers next week, bro. That's going to be the hardest game of all time to predict what's going to happen. I have no idea. They lost to the Bills. They beat the Jags. They beat the Eagles. By the way?
How do you beat the Eagles and the Jags but you can't beat the Bills? Come on. What the fuck?
When is it time to question Marcus Mariota? I feel like I say this every week they lose.
Well, they should. They've already should. The only reason he was never questioned beforehand, or some people didn't question him, was because of his team chemistry, not because of his stats. And now look where we're at.
Bro, this game's going to be like 17-14.
You think your touchdown's going to – the Titans can't score touchdowns.
Maybe 15-12.
Yeah, there you go. They can't score touchdowns. Hold on. Both teams only scored field goals last week. Both of them only got.
I don't know. I'm going to pick the Ravens because I think they're a better team. But
who knows? Who knows? I'm going to go with the Ravens also because I think their defense is just a little bit stronger. And I think they're going to force Mariota to make some passes he's not looking forward to. But
bro, Marcus Mariota, I feel like has had one game where he's thrown over 100, like 20 yards.
You know what? Actually, I'm going to look this up. I think the game against the Eagles, he did that.
Yeah, for sure. He looked like a superstar against the Eagles.
I can't bet against the rest of them. And they're still, what, 3-2?
Mm-hmm.
How?
I don't know.
And it's not like the run game has been amazing. Like
it hasn't been. They win every game like 12-9.
Okay, so here's Marcus Mariota's stats through this season. First game, oh my fucking God. First game of the year, 9 of 16, 103 yards, 2 interceptions.
Okay. Yeah.
Second game, 12 of 18, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions for 100 yards. Eagles game, 30 for 43, 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick.
That's such an outlier.
And then last week, 14 for 26, 129 yards, and 1 pick.
Okay, so he has one game over 130 yards.
Yes.
I'm going to say this week he has under 130 yards. That's a fair assessment.
Well,
even for how low that is in the modern NFL, like how many quarterbacks in the last 10 years that have started in the NFL have thrown for under 130 yards in what, 4 of the first 5?
Or 3 of their first 4 because they had a bye already.
Okay.
That's insane. What the no, I'm sorry. He didn't play week 2. That's what it was. How does that even happen? I don't understand. Okay. Yeah. That's crazy. I want somebody to get that stat for me. All right, next game. Is it time?
Jaguars,
God damn.
Cowboys. Go ahead, Dilly Vanilli.
Well, I'm gonna get hate on this one. I already know it. Okay. Cowboys are still one of the 2 teams to not give up over 24 points in a game, but I'm not very confident because our Cowboys offense fucking sucks. Okay. Jerry Jones went on the radio yesterday to say we haven't had a number 1 receiver in several years, even though he's a fucking liar. Hey, you released Dez, right? Like, are you blind? What are you talking about? I'm still going to pick the Cowboys, and I know that's very bold, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for it. The thing is that I cannot trust the offense, but I think Zeke can have a really good game. And, I would like – this could be a really good victory for the Cowboys. If they go 3-3, that's going to look like one of the best records in the division. Like, honestly. We didn't pick the Redskins to win. We picked the Eagles to win, but I think the Cowboys would still be ahead in the division. It's just a really weird game to look at. Blake Bortles was fucking garbage last week. I mean, just awful. And it was against the Chiefs defense that hasn't played very well over the course of the year. And this guy was throwing bullets right into the helmet of his own offensive lineman for an interception. I don't understand it. He looked terrible. Dak did not look very good, but he had some pretty good plays. We just can't finish. The biggest thing is we never finish. You can make a really good play, but you get to the 30-yard line. Here comes Brett Maher for his 3rd field goal of the game. Stop doing that. Go for it. Don't be a pussy and not go for it on 4th and 1. It's 4th and 1 in overtime. All right, stop it. Okay? Zeke was held to some pretty low yardage last week. I think he can have a good game this week, just like Kareem Hunt had a good game against the Jags defense. And there's some questions about this team that I really – for both teams. But the Cowboys getting this victory would be huge, and I know the other guys are going to pick the Jags, and that's fine. Honestly, I understand it, but the Jags' offense hasn't looked complete because Blake Bortles is garbage, and I think that gives the Cowboys at least a little bit of a chance to even win this game because Blake Bortles is Blake Bortles. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys' defense needs to show up and maybe create more than 1 turnover. If they can get a couple turnovers, that could be huge for this game to be in the Cowboys' favor. So that's what I got.
All right. I'm going to reverse it on you. I'm going with the Jaguars just because I think their defense is going to come out extremely angry and pissed off. I felt like they played way too safe and conservative against the Chiefs, and in a way almost like they almost disrespected themselves, like the way they played against the Chiefs. Like, it was weird. I know that they play their cover 3 style of defense, and they're not a very like man-to-man matchup type of team. But they were like very off coverage, like easy passes. It just seemed like they didn't have that attack mode that the Jaguars defense usually plays with, which I've been missing this year. And no, I didn't expect the Jaguars defense to be as dominant this year as it did last year. But I think this is a game here against the Cowboys where they are going to come out pissed off and they're going to dominate from start to finish. And I just think that Bortles, he'll make a couple mistakes. I think this game will be very low scoring, probably pretty close. But I think that the Jaguars overall are just going to make a couple more plays because I think the Jaguars defense is just going to be on a mission. So that's just my simple analysis for it. The biggest question is like, what Bortles are we going to get? Are we going to get the shitty ass one? Or are we going to get the one that rides on momentum? It was a classic Bortles game last week. I don't got much to say about that. He threw a fucking pass off the guy's helmet and it was intercepted. It was a classic. But this week, Jaguars bounce back in a big way. I just think it won't be a big way in terms of the score, but it will be a big way in terms of physicality and dominance on the field against a team in the Cowboys who pride themselves on those 2 things. So I'm going to go with the Jaguars. Sunday Night Football. The Kansas City Chiefs
We have a lot to talk about.
at the New England Patriots, baby. This is the game of the week, the game of the year, the game of the decade. No, I'm just kidding. It's the kid, Patrick Mahomes, versus the GOAT, Tom Brady. It's last year's MVP versus the current MVP this year. And it's the team who beat the Patriots pretty handily in the opener last year against the AFC representative of the Super Bowl. So the Chiefs are 5-0. They're riding high.
Yep.
The Patriots started off slow this year, yet the Patriots are favored by 3.5 points. Well, why is that? Well, I'll explain why that is. Because when teams who are riding high come into Gillette Stadium, they get their ass handed to them. The Patriots are going to win this game because the Chiefs defense can't stop the Patriots offense. It's going to be that simple. The Patriots are going to put up 38, and the Chiefs,
38. Wow.
The Chiefs are not going to, they're going to score. They're going to score. It's just going to happen. But the Patriots defense is a bit better than the Chiefs defense. They're going to make a couple more plays here and there in the red zone. I feel like they're going to play a very conservative defense, which focuses on their red zone defense, making a couple more plays, making the Chiefs kick a couple more field goals. And I think that's going to be the difference. I think you're going to see the Patriots offense really explode in this game. And that's why they're going to win at home on Sunday night.
Okay. First off, I don't remember exactly how the stat went, but I believe it was since 2007. I don't exactly remember. But in the 52, actually, this might be since Brady started. The Patriots at home are what 50-2 against AFC opponents? Is this?
Oh yeah, I gotta look that up, but it's something like that.
Okay, their 2 losses were against the Bills in Week 17 and the Chiefs last year at Week 1. This is where the exact same. We're in the scenario where the Chiefs can come here into Gillette Stadium and win. The 3.5, I think, is ridiculous. Even if you're going off of momentum, you've seen how these two teams have played, and I think the Chiefs had to at least be favored in this game.
I would agree with that. I don't really get it. I mean, I just think because
you're going off of what the Patriots as a group are here, like as their overall team.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of that. I think it's a little bit of the Chiefs are due for a down performance, and I think it's a little bit of the Patriots are due for a perfect game, which they haven't had this year yet. So and I also think it's just the respect from Vegas.
I don't know if they're due for it, essentially.
They haven't had a great game this year yet, and they're 3-2. So, I mean, and the Chiefs have had, I wouldn't call they had a bad game against the Broncos.
Yeah, but they were still able to get it done.
They were still able to get it done.
The thing is that I don't think either defense is really going to step out to the plate here. I know that the Patriots defense has made some good plays. Gilmore has been very good. A lot of those guys have actually liked, but I don't know if either defense is really going to stop either team from scoring 30. I'm going to be honest here. I think it's going to be very high scoring. The last game last year was 42-27, so that was almost similar. This year, I think the Chiefs are going to go out there. Mahomes sees the situation. This is a Sunday Night Football game against the best team of the last decade and a half. He wants to prove himself as the leader of this new generation. What better way to do it in the middle of the year and prove your team is the best in the league? Because if you lose here, it's like, yeah, you're still 5-1. You still got a lot of momentum, but you didn't prove yourself against the team, the best of the best. And this is very good opportunity to get it done here. Both teams have got some good things going for them offensively. The running back groups for both are doing very well. The receiver groups are interesting, especially with Edelman coming back last week. And that's just going to open it up even more. I think he'll have a good game. Josh Gordon caught that 500 touchdown from Brady. We'll see if he can do more on offense for the Chiefs. Tyreek Hill is a beast. I think he'll have a big game just like he did last year. I think this will be an interesting one, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I'm going to say the score. In all honesty, I'm going to go 35-31. I think it'll be a very high-scoring game for both teams.
I will say about that week 1, you continue to bring it up. That's week 1. The Patriots always suck in week 1, week 2, week 3.
Yeah, but they always got to play a game. It's not like the games don't matter.
No, I know, but you saw how bad the defense was last year at the beginning of the year, and you saw how bad they were at the beginning of this year. So I'm just saying, the team for New England is usually a bit better in week 6 than it is in week 1.
Yeah, but I just don't think the defense is going to stop them as much. I think both defenses are not going to be able to be very good in this game.
All right, I'm not hating on the pick. I'm just trying to point out a little bit of a flaw in that argument about the week 1 game last year. Anyways, we're both going separate ways here, so I hope that makes everybody happy in both camps. Because I did make a video about the Patriots and Chiefs. And there were a lot of Chiefs commenting on the video. Still positive, like dislike ratio, whatever. It was my opinion on the rosters, and pretty much most people agreed on it. But like the only thing I just want to pick this out because I feel like people are misunderstanding a little bit of the video, even though I would say it's described it pretty well. Okay. First off, I wouldn't have picked Patrick Mahomes over Tom Brady if this was based off last year or the career. Okay. Obviously, I wouldn't have picked Rob Gronkowski over Travis Kelce if this wasn't picked off. If this was picked off this year, last year. You know what I mean? Like, I picked Travis Kelce over Rob Gronkowski because it was based off this year. I picked Patrick Mahomes over Tom Brady because it was based off this year. I picked James White and Sony Michel over Kareem Hunt because it was based off this year and the statistics and the production that they've put up. And I just want to go on a semi-rant here where I posted the statistics in the comment section, and so far we haven't had a comment about it now. But I just feel like for some reason the Patriots running backs have been pretty underrated for what they've been able to do so far this year. Like, I tweeted about it as well. The New England running backs on 121 attempts have ran for 526 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 4.3 yards per carry. They also have 43 catches for 347 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now you contrast that with the Kansas City running backs. 93 attempts, 418 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4.1 yards per carry. So less yards per carry, less yards on less attempts. Way less catches, not nearly the impact in the passing game. 201 yards on 15 catches, while the Patriots have caught 43 passes with 4 touchdowns. So the Patriots running backs, I just want to say, have had more of an impact than Kareem Hunt and the Kansas City guys. And I feel like they have played better and are a bigger reason why they've won. I feel like if Kareem Hunt, didn't play amazing, they might have only lost one of the games against the Broncos. Other than that, if the Patriots running backs wouldn't have played well, they probably would have lost every game this year. I mean, like, without the receivers that they've had, like the receivers they had over the first 4 weeks, they wouldn't have won any of those games. So that's just my point on the running backs. Separate note. Okay. Monday Night Football, the San Francisco 49ers at the Green Bay Packers. Last game of the week. I'm going with the Packers. A couple notes. The Packers, I don't think, are a very good team or a great team in any regard. And I think we're seeing something with the Packers. I think we're seeing that Mike McCarthy is as close to being fired as he's ever been before. Aaron Rodgers, I think he's showing his biggest flaw. It's not on the field, it's off the field. It's his personality and it's his leadership, his attitude. He has had a really poor attitude for a starting star quarterback. I like Aaron Rodgers and I love what he can do on the football field, but he at times has this pissy attitude that I feel like it's close to getting his way. I agree with him about the offense and about the coaching and what's been happening, but it's not like Mike McCarthy's a bad coach. Rodgers just seems to be taking out his frustration even more than we've ever seen before. And that's an interesting thing. And I feel like it's negatively impacting the team. Even when the Packers were, playing poorly at the beginning of seasons in the past, he said things like relax and said things like, hold on, we got this. I got this. But now this year, he's not saying any of those things. So to me, it's very interesting. But they are playing a 49ers team that are depleted by injuries. They have no quarterback. They have no running back now. So I think the Packers will win pretty convincingly at home, and they should, for sure. Dylan.
First of all, CJ Beathard's the GOAT. Second, no Matt Burrito. I know it's Burrito. Don't question me. The thing is that this game was obviously scheduled when Jimmy G was the quarterback, so this would have been a way more interesting game, and I don't think they normally flex Monday games. With that being said, I just think this is a very easy game. But like you said, the Aaron Rodgers situation is very interesting just because Aaron Rodgers has had this personality for a while. I mean, I've never really liked the personality that Aaron Rodgers gives off here with this team because he obviously it's always on the shoulders, but when they don't win, he doesn't usually give, in this situation, he's not giving this response to his team and as his group as a whole. He's heard relax. We're going to run the table. That's confidence. He doesn't have confidence this year. And I think that there's a lot of teams in that. I mean, obviously the Vikings and the Bears are still very good in that division. They're still going to put up some big numbers and put up some really good games. So this will be a very interesting or very easy game, I should say, for the Packers. Hopefully, and I should say hopefully because if they lose, this would be devastating. This is must win, but it's an easy must win. So Packers are going to win here.
Okay, let's get to the comments.
Let's go back up here. Let's see here. Hansman, top 10 QBs right now.
I do this every week. You guys want me to rank the quarterbacks every week?
Gotta do it. Okay, just throw out 10. Just throw out who you think is the 10. You don't have to rank.
Okay. The top 10. Brady, Goff, Rivers, Mahomes, Rodgers, Breeze, Matt Ryan,
Big
Kirk
Ben?
Cousins, Cam Newton. How many is that?
That's 9.
Last one.
You putting Big Ben on there?
I'll go Andrew Luck.
Go Andrew Luck. Okay. Fair enough. I think that's a fair list. It's a pretty easy list. But Nate Peterman's in that combo as well, according to Turtle. Yes. Let's see here. Here's party parts order. He said in any order. This is just the 10 like you mentioned. Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes, Goff, Luck, Watson, Breeze, Rivers, Wilson, and Stafford. So 3 quarterbacks that you were not on your list.
Who wasn't on there? Watson, Stafford.
Watson, Stafford, and Wilson. Or did you say Wilson?
Oh, Wilson should probably be in there. So put in Wilson, take out Luck.
Okay. So but Watson and Stafford are also. Watson does look a lot better.
Yeah, we'll give him a little bit of time.
You'll get some time.
I put Ryan in there.
No, Stafford. You said Stafford wasn't it? You didn't have Stafford.
No, freaking Ultra saying no Ryan. I put Ryan in there.
Oh, you put Ryan in there. Rick says Patriots are gonna win. Party Part says Watson is looking like Watson now, so he's definitely in the top 10. That's what he's saying.
Give him a couple weeks.
Yeah, for sure. Party Part 35-24 Patriots. Rick with a 38-35 victory of the Patriots.
I don't think anyone who picked the Chiefs gave their score. I think they just picked the Chiefs.
I haven't seen anybody pick the Chiefs so far, actually.
Well, I've seen like no way Patriots win and stuff like that.
Oh, there you go. There's Hansman's. Petter says Chiefs are going to finish the season 10-6. That's a very hard thing to do, especially if you're out without. If it was with Alex Smith, yes. Let's see. Part says Gronk is way better than bum-ass Kelsey. Well, I don't know. I don't think Kelsey's a bum. I mean, that's over-exaggerated.
Turtle says 34-28 Chiefs.
Okay.
On the last drive. Party says 35-24. Brady destroys the Chiefs.
That's interesting. Ram has a good call. Whoever has the ball last will win the game. I think that actually could be interesting. That could work.
Maybe.
But Brady has it. You know his 2-minute drives. He's the best in the game at it. So that definitely could be a factor. Going to be a hell of a game. Yes, it will be. Go Skittle is very late to the game. You know what? I just want to publicly apologize. The Jay Ajayi, Keenan Allen, Kareem Hunt trade, Gotta feel bad. Brother.
Watch, somebody on that trade is going to get absolutely destroyed. You're going to.
By the way, I traded Jay Ajayi and Keenan Allen for Kareem Hunt, and Jay Ajayi tore his ACL the very next week. So
it's Keenan Allen versus Kareem Hunt?
Yep. That's the role. But Go Skill picked him 13th, and I picked him Keenan Allen 16th in the draft. So, it's not that far. I just gave him extra compensation, and the extra compensation didn't work. I'll take it. He gave me like 14.7 last week. Early Super Bowl predictions.
Sticking with Patriots Saints.
Considering I still can't trust the Chiefs to win a fucking playoff game.
No, I'm just going to stick with my pick. It's only week 6, and both teams are playing okay right now, so I'm fine with that.
Patriots Saints. By the way, I'm still looking for that $100 AC. We're about halfway there.
What do you say? 10 wins?
10
Well,
wins.
look at where my bet's at. Falcons are 1-4, so doing pretty well so far.
You're doing pretty well. I think I think we're both gonna win that money. Pretty simple. Saints, Rams in the NFC, and the Chiefs, Patriots in the AFC, with Jaguars being a dark horse. Those are I don't know. I don't really have
looks like right now.
I don't have a solid prediction yet, but that's what I'm looking at. Rams, Jaguars. Yusuf says go Skittles. Going.
I think Bears are a dark horse.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. If there's an NFC dark horse, I would say that's true as also. Rams, Chiefs is what Skittles calling, which is interesting because he's a fan. Can't says Packers are taking a dub. Ultra's going with a 27-23 win for the Packers. Let's see. Oh, he's talking. Ultra's comment about Ryan was on Go Skittles because Go Skittle gave his top 10 here, which was Mahomes, Goff, Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, Wilson, Newton, Cousins, Rivers.
Sounds a lot like mine.
Pretty much, but there was no Newton in your list. So.
Yeah, there was.
Where'd you have Cam at? I don't think you didn't have Cam on.
Do I gotta redo it?
You did not have Cam on the list.
Bro, why would I not have Cam?
You didn't put Cam on the list.
You're talking about me here. Hey, Brady.
I thought
there's a lot of good quarterbacks right now. This is hard. Okay, but Brady, Goff, Rivers, Mahomes, Rodgers, Breeze, Ryan, Wilson, Cousins, Cam. That's right.
Okay, so you put Cousins or Cam at the end. I don't think you put him in the first time.
I'm going through the rest of the teams, and I didn't put the Bills, Bucks, Lions, Skins, Titans, Raiders quarterbacks on there. So
no,
I feel like I did.
Everybody, go back in there. We'll see who that is. Let's see. Trying to think if there's any other good ones. Ultra says Ryan played just as well as Breeze in that game. That was week 3. The Saints and the Falcons. Hey, go Skittle with another FU because of that trade. Well, I'm sorry, bro. You had to accept it for it to happen. You know, I just offered. Fate would happen. Jeremy Hansman says Andy Reid over Bill Belichick. I just don't think that one's true. Sorry.
Right now, maybe. Belichick's got to prove himself this week. Big week for Bill.
Big week
he's
for Bill.
He's hyping us up huge for this game, eh?
We're on to Cincinnati.
See that video?
I think
feels like we're playing the Chiefs. Is this game important to you, Bill? Do you think this is going to matter for the playoffs and seeding? Feels like we're playing the Chiefs. Does Tyreek Hill remind you of Eric Metcalf? Yeah, no.
That's great. I didn't get to watch that yet.
Oh, it's pretty good. You gotta watch it.
That's funny.
All right, should we wrap it up?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us for another week of picks. It's the NFL Week 6 picks with the Bottom Line View, Mitch and Dilly Vanilli. If you enjoyed, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you guys share it with your friends, NFL fans that you guys know, family, friends. Share it with them. Post it on your social media. Let them know that the Bottom Line View is the place to go for your NFL news, reactions, picks, previews, topic videos, all that sort of stuff. This weekend, Dilly Vanilli, we will be streaming what games?
Well, I will not be on this week. I forgot to tell you that.
What an ass. Doesn't even tell me.
But I
guess I get to pick.
You get to pick, but I think wasn't it the Chargers Browns game?
I think I'm gonna do the Chargers and the Browns. That might be the most entertaining game of all time. So I don't know if I can miss out on that one. We'll see about the Chiefs and Patriots. If I'm not doing anything for that game, then I'll stream it. But if I'm doing something, then I won't stream it. So I'll let you guys know during the other stream whether I'm doing that or not. And it seems like all the good games are at 1. So
I will be on recap if we do recap for Chiefs Patriots. I just got stuff I got to do.
Yeah, we'll definitely be doing Thursday's recap. We'll definitely be doing Monday's recap. So stay tuned for those.
Yep.
All right, guys. Peace out.
Peace.